BioShock is easily one of the most influential games of all time, and today, I want to talk about how it came to be. What started as a spiritual successor to System Shock 2 evolved into a haunting philosophical deep dive into free will, morality, and objectivism. That's the philosophy developed by Ayn Rand, centered on reason, individual happiness, and rational self-interest. In the early 2000s, Ken Levine and his team at Irrational Games had just come off of System Shock 2. It was beloved by critics, but it didn't really sell well. So they wanted to make a new immersive sim, but one that actually could make a profit. Along the way, the team had to make some tough calls, cutting features, reworking systems, and navigating some tricky design choices, all while building one of gaming's most iconic settings, Rapture. From scrapped prototypes to bold creative risks, let's talk about how it all came together to create a true masterpiece. Grab a plasmid.
Your genetic code is being rewritten.
Or maybe not, think about your life choices, and let's get started. Before BioShock, Ken Levine had already left his mark on gaming with System Shock 2. It helped define the immersive sim genre, blending player freedom, layered mechanics, and rich atmosphere. But for Levine, it was only the beginning. After its cult success, Levine and his team at Irrational Games began work on a spiritual successor. But this time, survival wasn't enough. Ken Levine has said, "I wanted to make a game that would make people question their decisions, to make them think about their place in the world." Their ambitions shifted. The game would become a philosophical mirror, reflecting the player's morality, agency, and the cost of unchecked ideals. One of the team's core influences was Atlas Shrugged, Ayn Rand's vision of society built on radical individualism. The intellectual elite retreat from a collapsing world to build a utopia, free from regulation and free from morality. That utopia, of course, collapses. And from that blueprint, Rapture was born. A shining city beneath the sea, built on ambition, freedom, and self-interest. Its founder, Andrew Ryan, wasn't just a man, it was an idea. His vision closely mirrored the philosophy at the heart of Atlas Shrugged, a novel about a world where society's most brilliant minds retreat to form a utopia. This utopia is led by a mysterious figure named John Galt, who becomes the symbol of radical individualism. In many ways, Ryan is Galt brought to life, convinced that greatness needs no oversights, only freedom. But like Galt's world, Ryan's Rapture would eventually collapse, undone by the very ideals that built it. Rapture was never just a setting, it was a warning. It wasn't simply scenery, it was a character in its own right. The team built Rapture to embody both ambition and collapse, drawing from the opulent Art Deco style of 1930s New York. Gold trim, marble columns, velvet accents. It was the peak of human achievement, already rotting from within. Everything in Rapture had a purpose. The posters? The audio logs?
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow?
The flickering neon. Every detail told part of the story. It wasn't just a beautiful ruin. It was a mirror of Andrew Ryan's dream. It was a place where the best could thrive, no longer held back by rules or ethics. But beneath its surface, both literally and metaphorically, rot had set in. The elegance was just a mask for something that was broken. The developers poured themselves into the world building. Lore wasn't just told, it was embedded in the environment, making every hallway feel like a glimpse into a fallen world that once believed that it was perfect. BioShock didn't start as the focused, atmospheric experience that we remember. Early on, it was something looser, structured more like a sandbox. The idea was simple: give players total freedom. Let them explore, experiment, and solve problems however they wanted. But once playtesting began, that freedom exposed cracks. Players felt aimless, the story didn't land, the stakes were unclear, and unpredictable difficulty spikes made the game frustrating instead of empowering. So the team made some tough decisions. They scaled back the openness, tightened the pacing, and rebuilt the experience around narrative tension, not just player freedom. Rapture transformed from a sandbox into something cinematic, deliberate, unnerving, emotionally charged. That shift was risky, but it paid off. What emerged was a refined experience, where every corridor had weight, and every decision felt meaningful. Even the small ones, like when to use a hypo or what to buy from the Circus of Value. From chaos came control, and with it, one of gaming's most unforgettable journeys. Let's talk about the Little Sisters. One of BioShock's most memorable mechanics is the choice to save or harvest them. These eerie, innocent girls hold the key to Adam, the resource that everyone in Rapture, including you, the player, needs to survive. When you find one, you're faced with a choice. Do you harvest her for all of her Adam, or do you spare her and only take a little? That moral dilemma is core to the game's philosophy. Fun fact, the Little Sisters weren't always girls. Originally, they were imagined as insect-like creatures, meant to be creepy and strange. But the team realized that that did not carry the emotional weight that they needed. By making them children, the choice became more than just a game mechanic. It became personal, something that you felt. Each little sister is protected by a big daddy. Massive, lumbering guardians that embody one of BioShock's core themes, protector versus exploiter. The system didn't just ask, "What would you do?" It made you live with the answer. Would you kindly? 3 words that turned BioShock and all of us upside down. The twist? You'd been manipulated the entire time.
Would you kindly?
Brainwashed.
Would you kindly get
controlled.
this? Would you kindly find that? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly find it? Would you kindly get this? Would you kindly head to Ryan's office and kill the son of a bitch?
It wasn't just shocking, it was a direct attack on the idea of free will. It turned your character into a puppet, and you, the player, into part of the story. Early versions of the game revealed this twist much earlier. There was even a different villain, a shadowy figure called the Chairman, with a more traditional story arc. But that version didn't hit as hard. Eventually the team realized the twist needed to land at the peak, during your confrontation with Andrew Ryan.
Stand! Would you kindly? Run! Stop! Turn.
That scene changed everything. A commentary on agency, obedience, and the nature of video games themselves. And it worked. Would you kindly became one of the most iconic lines in gaming history.
A man chooses. A slave obeys.
Not all of the original plans for BioShock made it into the final game. Originally, there were actually talks for a multiplayer mode. Set in Rapture, various factions would fight for survival. But as development went on, it became clear. BioShock's power was in its single-player story. Multiplayer just didn't fit. There were also plans for more of Rapture. High society zones, slums, unique biomes, side quests tied to specific characters, NPCs with deeper dialogue and moral weight. But those were cut too. Not because they weren't good, because they distracted from the game's core message. By narrowing the focus, BioShock became sharper, more intimate, more impactful. Sometimes the best things you can do in game development, cut. That's what kept BioShock true to itself. A story about free will, morality, and the rot beneath idealism. When BioShock launched in 2007, it wasn't just another shooter, it was a revelation. It asked questions no other game dared to. It gave players choices that mattered, and it proved that games could be smart, stylish, and deeply unsettling. Its DNA is everywhere, from Dishonored and Prey to The Last of Us, but BioShock still stands alone. Even now, nothing quite feels like BioShock. A game that pulled us beneath the surface, never let go. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please feel free to give it a like. If you want to see more content from this channel, please subscribe. I want to make more topical videos that I'm interested in. I have a lot of passion for, things that I get to explore and work on and learn about over time. So if you enjoy this kind of content or just want to see more of me playing games or making videos like this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all of you so much, and I hope you have the best day or night. Thank you.